Recent numbers show sales leads have decreased mainly because of interest rates, vehicle prices, and still even availability of inventory in some cases. So the pressure continues to build for sales teams to meet quotas. How do you do it? Crissy, the car fairy Burton, a saleswoman at Hubler Chevrolet, is here to share some helpful tips on becoming a top sales performer in today's crazy marketplace. So Crissy, welcome to the show. And you spoke at NADA recently on this very topic, right?
I did.
Yeah, congratulations on that. So you're recommending that sales teams not only rely solely on the phone leads or the CRM, where are your leads coming from?
I generate majority of all of my leads through social media, Facebook, and it's a combination of Facebook and referral-based program I've built for myself.
And I would imagine the Facebook really helps the referrals because they'll see you on Facebook, or friends will recommend one another, right?
Correct. So it's kind of like a repeated cycle. They start on Facebook, they see a lead on a post on Facebook, and then from that I gain like 10 plus referrals, and then they're telling a friend, and then they're telling a friend. So
that's fantastic. So you probably feel like you knock the cover off the ball when you sell a vehicle to somebody, and lo and behold, you find out they have 10,000 followers or something, right?
Yeah, and I've had that happen quite a few times.
Yeah.
Some of my customers are high-end people. They have more followers than me.
Sure.
And then especially when I leave a good experience, and then they go out and put that experience into the world so other people can see it. So.
Sure. It seems that the world, and I talk to a lot of managers and salespeople, each week here on CBT News. It sounds like the world is divided. The automotive world is divided among those that do believe in social media and those that say, social media, I'm not into that. I sell cars and that's the way it is. And I'm always looking at the front door, for my next lead, so to speak, or maybe the service drive. Talk to us about the importance that you see of marketing and branding yourself as a salesperson out there in today's market.
So the biggest thing that has helped me become so successful is that with, putting myself out there and marketing and branding myself. Hey, I'm Crissy Burton, also known as the car fairy. I sell cars. These are the programs that I have available. And then when I'm putting my customers, testimonials, they're actually able to see a visual of them with their car. It just, again, leaves a revolving door for me to where time management is everything. Because I have children, I don't want to be at work all day if I don't have to. But I also want to go to work and sell cars,
Yeah.
So the good thing about being on social media is it just prevents me from having to go to work and I don't know what's to come. I don't have to go to work. I don't have to pick up the phone, call leads, and hope that they come. I've already created appointments for myself. I know that they're coming.
Sure.
And the only thing that's in the way of whether or not they can get a vehicle is credit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is something that I deal with. I deal with a lot of customers who have challenge credit.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes that process can go one way or the other.
Yeah.
And typically for me, because my customers understand my programs, because I'm so hardcore on what I have access to do.
Yeah.
So usually when my customers come in, they have exactly what's needed, and the process is pretty smooth. So
Sure. How long have you been selling vehicles?
It actually will be 8 years next month.
Oh wow! Same dealership?
No,
couple of deals. Okay.
I've worked at a couple dealerships, and the reason being is, again, because I deal with a special type of customer base.
Mm-hmm.
So with the pandemic, it shifted, and a lot of the inventory is in this current market is not where it used to be.
Sure.
So primarily, I've always been prone to dealerships, manufacturers who have the best rebates and incentives. They're going to benefit with my customer, and it has helped me. It's something that, because I have such a strong relationship and my customers trust me, I can put them in a Nissan, and then they'll come back and go to a Kia, and then they'll go to a Hyundai.
And is that because Hubler sells all of those different brands, or you're talking about used cars?
So I've worked at those are just the brands that I've sold throughout my career. Now the good thing is Hubler is there are 13 locations, so we do have abilities to cross sell.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And are there more people with challenge credit today, do you believe, than there were 4 or 5 years ago because of
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's just something with the pandemic. We saw a shift where, like, when the pandemic first hit, and there were so many resources out here where people had access to money,
Yeah.
instead of like being in a true pandemic, a lot of people had money. They didn't have to pay rent. They didn't have to pay
Yeah.
car bills. They didn't even have to get their tax for, 4 months because of the BNB being down. So a lot of people actually like invested into their credit, where I saw a better, more prime-based customer than subprime. And
Yeah.
then that went on good up until the end of like 2021,
Okay.
when reality set in and there were no more resources. And a lot of people, and then the rent went up,
Yeah.
cars went, interest rates went up,
Yeah.
and bills, got higher. And of course,
Sure.
people who didn't have resources, what did they do? They had to jeopardize their credit. So right now, it's really tough.
Yeah, for sure. And in terms of affordability, that seems to be a major concern of both the OEM side of the industry as well as especially the retail side, because
Yeah.
these new cars and used cars are so expensive right now. What
Yeah.
impact has that had on your business, especially in the area of trying to get some of these people bought?
So the only impact that it's had is the amount of vehicles that I'm used to selling. I went from, and when I first got in the business, averaging 25 to 30 cars a month. And then my career took a huge peak in 2018. Between 2018 up until 2021, my average was 40, 50, 60, 70 cars a month.
Really?
So
Wow.
now, yeah. So now, within the past year, my average did drop down to like 25, 30 cars a month. Now, the good thing is, the inventory is amazing. The average gross is way much better, so
Because the inventory is lower, is what you're saying, that the gross profits are higher?
So correct. So
Okay.
with us, a lot of people are traded in their cars,
Yeah.
where we're relying on trades, and because of the way we're buying into them and the way that we're able to sell them, they're actually booking better than they
Okay.
used to.
Okay.
So
Right.
yeah.
And then, in that, in the market that you're in, which is challenge credit, helping those, get into a car, those people are very loyal, and they refer other people, right? That because they
Yeah.
usually travel in the same circles, right? And somebody says, "How did you get a car?" I'm going to be calling Crissy then, and she's going to get me into a vehicle. If you got so and so into a car, you can get me into one, right?
Yeah, and that's exactly how it works for
Yeah.
me. So I'm actually, like, when I say 80% of my customer base comes directly from that setup.
Sure.
I'm in a lot of private groups on social media, and every day, when someone's looking for a car, especially if they have a situation, the first thing they're going to go out onto is Facebook.
Yeah.
And it's no different from, hey, who has a dining room table for sale? Or
Yeah.
who has this for sale? And so most people are like, who has a car? I only got $2,000 down, no license, who can help me?
Yeah.
So I already know just from what they're putting out there, exactly what I'm working with. And then a lot of them are realistic in their situation. So a lot of them are just like, hey, Crissy, I just have a car. So it definitely
Yeah.
makes better for me because I work at high-end dealerships, and I'm selling actual brands and certified vehicles, and a lot of these customers typically go to buy here, pay here.
Yeah.
Because they were discouraged. They didn't think that they could come into these major dealerships and purchase vehicles. So when I'm putting them in 3 to 4-year-old cars, low miles, certified, and
Yeah.
if something goes wrong, they can have comfortability of coming to the dealership, and they don't have to go out and find a mechanic. So that is definitely something that my customers have bragging rights on, and they tell the next person. So the next person's like, "Oh, well, she had this going on. Well, I know you can help me."
That's great.
And that's exactly how my setup is.
Well, Crissy Burton, she is known as the Car Fairy, and she's a very successful saleswoman at Hubler Chevrolet. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. We very much appreciate it. Congratulations on being a speaker at NAD. It's quite an honor. So thank you for joining us on the show, and thank all of you for watching. Really appreciate it. Don't forget that you can also access all of our content at CBT News right here, in-depth interviews, original shows on Roku and Apple TV. So thank you so much, Crissy. Really appreciate it. Love to do a follow-up with you to see how things are going.
Absolutely. It was my pleasure.
Great. Thanks.